This video is about the diagonal vanishing point when casting shadows, but you really need to look at my other videos to best understand it. In this picture, I found the light direction by connecting the object with its shadow, and I found the shadow vanishing point where there are vertical poles, and a building vanishing point. You can see that these lines go to that vanishing point. Now, the diagonal vanishing point is above the building vanishing point and level with the light. And it's for these diagonal shadows on the wall. There are 3 or 4 of them here. And they are cast by horizontal poles perpendicular to the wall. So this one, and this one, for example. In this example, I show you the window vanishing point and the shadow vanishing point. And the shadow direction has to be on horizontal surfaces like this. Then we want to find the light direction, and we do that by finding window pane intersections and their shadow. So these two would give us a light direction. And then the diagonal vanishing point is above the vanishing point for the window and level with the sun, and it gives us these diagonals on the wall. In this example, we have the vanishing point for the building and the vanishing point for the shadows. You can see that the shadows go in this direction, and directly below that is the pseudo-sun, so we can connect this part of the roof to its shadow right here to get this light ray down here. And then we have the diagonal vanishing point, and since it's sort of in the middle of the building, we can use it for this diagonal and this one on the wall. Now, I also want to point out these upside down light triangles, which we can use because the overhang is flat. So draw a shadow line from the corner of the roof to where it ends right here, going toward the shadow vanishing point. And at that point, you set up a vertical pole and then send a light ray from the same point down to the pseudo-sun, and where it passes the vertical pole is a point on the shadow. So it would give us this line. And you can put these upside down light triangles anywhere. So for example, this one goes to the shadow vanishing point, this line goes to the pseudo-sun, and where they cross this vertical pole is a point on the shadow. I want to compare light direction versus the diagonal shadows when the horizontal pole is or is not foreshortened. So here's a horizontal pole that we see from the side, so it's not foreshortened at all. And the light goes through the front of it, and the shadow diagonal goes through the back of it, and they are very different. Now, in the second one, this is relatively foreshortened, but this pole particularly is foreshortened because it's close to eye level. And you can see here that the light and the diagonal shadow are parallel, but when we come up here, they pretty much overlap. The other factor affecting the light and the diagonal shadows is where are the two vanishing points. In this first case, the light is much further away than the diagonal vanishing point. So these diagonals on the wall are steeper than the light. In the second case, the light is nearly overhead and the vanishing point for the diagonals is probably close by, so that the light rays are nearly parallel with the diagonal shadows on the wall. So here again, we have the building vanishing point, the shadow vanishing point, and the light, and we can find the diagonal vanishing point using its relationship with the light and the building vanishing point. And so that gives us this diagonal here, and it reaches the ground here, so this is the shadow of this horizontal pole, so that makes sense. Now, if you can imagine the diagonal vanishing point coming down, well, the light has to come down too. And what would happen is that this would get longer and this shadow would get bigger, but this would still be horizontal because it's cast by this horizontal pole. In this slide, I show you two ways of using the diagonal vanishing point. This first one has light rays that are parallel and a horizontal shadow direction, so we don't know where the light is or the vanishing point for the shadows. All we know is the left vanishing point and the diagonal vanishing point. And this diagonal vanishing point is very useful if you have a lot of diagonal shadows on walls, which we have here, here, and here. And they're all from horizontal poles that are perpendicular to that wall. So all these, I guess they're balconies, are horizontal poles perpendicular to the wall. So using this diagonal, we can get all these diagonal shadows to agree with one another. Now in the second case, we have a shadow vanishing point, we have a light vanishing point, and we have an object vanishing point. And let's say we don't know where this diagonal should be. Well, we know where the diagonal vanishing point is if we know the other three vanishing points. So it will tell us that these diagonals on the wall should go to this vanishing point up here. I want to go over these shadows as a kind of review. So in this first one, we have this light triangle giving us intersection 1, and we could draw another light triangle here giving us this intersection, so that this shadow is cast by this horizontal pole. For this horizontal pole, we have light rays going through them, and then we need to establish seats on the casting surface through which shadow lines pass, and that gives us these two intersections. Then this horizontal pole casts this shadow, which is either parallel to it or converging. And to find number 4, we have to use this back vertical pole and find the light direction and the shadow to find number 4. And once we run out of intersections, then the shadow goes to the nearest corner. So that's the back, the shadow in the back. Now in front, we have vertical edge 1 that's casting this shadow, which must be the shadow direction. When it intersects the light, edge 2 comes into play, and it casts horizontal converging lines here, and diagonals on the vertical walls here and here. And if we extended these diagonals, they would go to the diagonal vanishing point. So this is the end of diagonal vanishing points, and the next video is about shadows of boxes on the wall.